Alrighty, what is going on to anyone and everyone who are watching this video? Today for this VOD review, we're going to be doing I believe, Anna only review on Route 66. And before I jump into the video, I do want to discuss one, not necessarily a concept, but I guess a thing about the map, or about maps in general. So we can kind of get an idea of how we should not only play this map, but play other maps as well. So first and foremost, we are on defense. What that means is, for the first point, our spawn is here. So, and the enemy needs to get the card here, and their spawn is here, right? So, when we think about this, right, there are these things called chokes, right? And if we want to talk about the beginning of the match, the first choke is here. And what a choke is basically a narrow pathway that has limited ways to get through, in a sense, but basically it's a narrow pathway that enemies have to fight through. So for example, by walking through the middle here, which you kind of have to do to push the cart, you're exposed to angles from over here, angles from underneath, as well as up top. You're exposed from here, you're exposed from here, right? There's a lot of things you have to worry about, a lot of pathing as well, which makes it difficult to push through chokes, right? With that being said, we want to force the enemy to fight in chokes. Why? Because that's where the fight will basically, 9 times out of 10, as a defender, be the most in your favor. So if we want to talk about just in general, chokes on this map, one is here. I believe the next one, the other ones are, I would say this would kind of be a choke here. Another choke would be, I'd say, fighting through here. Would be necessarily kind of like a choke. And then that's basically it. And then if anything, the last choke is like here. So there's like about 4 chokes, but I would say the primary ones are the first one, this one, and then probably this one. Those are like the hardest chokes to break, right? And most chokes will have, choke points will have basically the same categories, or the same characteristics, I mean, where they're hard to push through because there's a lot of angles that can see you, and those angles that can see you aren't really easily accessible. With that being said, let's talk about defense and how we should set up. So I did skim through a little bit of the beginning of your game. One thing that I noticed is, if you are in a 5-stack, definitely want to communicate this thing to your teammates. If not, obviously you can say something to people, but you can't force them to do certain things. But as you get higher and higher in the ranks, people will start doing the right thing more and more. Not always, but it will be more common, right? Because to get that high, you got to do the right thing. So when we're thinking about defending first point, we can call it, right? The enemy's going to spawn from here, and they're going to start pushing the payload. For the most part, they can hide. The tank can hide behind the payload, and there's only one way you can shoot. So if it's a shield tank, they can block the damage, right, or whatever, or mitigate it somehow with using the card as natural cover while it pushes, things like that. So you really don't want to take the fight past this choke. So what I would really like to see would be kind of like have people on high ground, some people controlling like the off lane here, while your tank either plays high ground with you, or they control the low ground, depending on what tank they are, or depending on what they see from the enemy, right? They could start high, and then depending on what they see, they could drop, but it'll really depend on what's being played. So for example, you're playing Anna. So personally, if I were you, I would position myself in one of 2 places, either around the billboard, so I can kind of peek through here and be safe, while also being able to heal my teammates, shoot at the enemy, or like peek from this side. Or if I know that I have a lot of pressure or somebody holding a lot here, I can like hold back here. And basically, the reasoning for those positionings is just being in a position to heal my teammates while also being able to get shots off on the enemy. I would say this position over here is a little bit more aggressive because it puts you in the direct line of sight of the enemy. So I wouldn't necessarily be here, I would say right away. I would say if anything, you can start on the right side, which is a little bit more safer. It gives you, it still gives you angles on main, but just not as aggressive, right? Because if they're here and you're here, they can see you without your teammates being able to see them. Comparatively, if you're over here, to see you, they have to be within your teammates' line of sight. And if you want to play even safer, right, I would say here, if you have teammates that are controlling the little tunnel on top and around underneath as well. Because if not, if no one's controlling that, they can walk through and they have free access to you, right? So if you have control on the tunnel, you can play there. If not, 9 times out of 10, probably just play here, right? Cool. And a big reason why we don't want to play through the choke, right, is because, for one, not a lot of cover, as well as even if you get kills, right, their spawn's right here. They come back very quickly, right? So if you team wipe them and don't lose nobody, cool. That's cool. Obviously, there's no problem there. But the issue comes into play when you start getting trades, right? So let's say you guys are fighting. They lose one, you lose one. The time it'll take them to get back to the fight compared to your team getting back to fight, you can start to see the issue here. That line is a lot longer, right? So that's why you don't necessarily want to take fights super far up, because if you do lose someone, they have to take this road trip, right? And let's say you do whatever, you guys push through because you had an advantage and you still lose people. You need to also have the understanding of just because you've gained space doesn't mean it belongs to you forever. By losing people, you are therefore losing resources, which will make holding that space even harder, especially when they're going to have the advantage in attacking before you guys can regroup, right? So let's say you guys do fight at the choke, you win, you get a kill, you move up, but then you lose somebody, and you realize, oh, okay, they're going to respond before us. You need to backtrap a little bit. Whether you go here, whether you give a little bit more space, right, depending on how fast their comp is, right, or how far out your person is. Sometimes you need to give space, right? There is a concept called push and pull. I won't go too deep into it, but basically there's going to be moments for each. So we have push, and basically that means to attack. We have pull, which means to pull back, right? And then there's another push, pull, and then there's something else, I think. Poke, right? So these are basically 3 stages of the fight. So in the beginning, both teams can push, right? Both teams can poke, right? But basically, let's say we're defending this choke. You guys are here. It's the beginning of the fight, which means you're getting information, trying to figure out what they're running, where everybody's positioned, thing like that. So your team, in theory, is in the poke, right? So you're in poke, they're in poke. Once they decide, right, that they want to take the fight, they are now pushing, right? So now they go from poke to we want to push, right? So let's say they have a Winston. So now they're going to push, right? And that could, in theory, cause your team to pull, which means give it a little bit of space. Why? Because if Winston jumps on here and pops a bubble, are you going to just sit in the bubble and die if you don't have help? No, you got to get away. Or if you see that he's getting ready to jump in and you're by yourself, you got to get away, right? So basically, it's a concept, right? So let's really quick talk about your defense, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is your composition, right? You are running Ana Mercy. Not a bad combo, but unlike other support combos, your other support won't be able to peel for you as much, so you're kind of going to be on your own for the most part. 9 times out of 10, your Mercy is going to be blue beaming your Bastion to give him more damage, make him harder to kill, while also making him a lot better at eliminating other players, right? So that should be her priority. Your priority should be basically keeping everybody else alive. In the beginning of the game, it can be very easy to kind of peek through main to try to get information for yourself, but I really want you to get used to trusting your team to get that information, and the people who can do that the best will be your tank, because they have a lot of HP and won't just instantly blow up, as well as your flankers, because they can get in and out without needing too many resources in a sense, right? Other than that, when they are doing that, you can be holding tabs so you can be seeing what the enemy has, which will give you information to basically allow you to dictate how you should play the game early on. For example, let's just talk about your cooldowns. If they're running like a Malga, right, or a Roadhog, right, that means your anti-nade will be really good against those characters, so you can use it more aggressively. Let's say they're running like a Zarya, your anti-nade won't be that great against Zarya, so you can use it more so to keep your teammates alive, or yourself. Let's talk about Sleep Dart. Sleep Dart against a tank like a Sigma. It's going to be very hard to sleep him, so maybe you can use it for other methods. Or let's say they have flankers, you could use it for the flankers. Things like that. Alright, so you're playing at the choke, which is, my opinion, a big no-no. Because, like we said earlier, if anything goes wrong, they have the advantage. So here we are. So your Orissa's kind of playing where she needs to play, right? Get information, but your Mercy's pocketing your Orissa compared to pocketing a DPS. And obviously your Bastion's all the way up here, and no one's there to help him. So basically your Bastion should die. Here we are, you get a shot off. One thing that I can already tell that you do a lot is you jump. Try not to jump too much. Jumping makes you easier to hit because it makes your movement predictable. In Overwatch, I think there's no acceleration, which means that if you just go left and right, you go max speed all the time, right? Compared to if you jump, it's going to slow you down as well as make you predictable, right? So don't jump, because if you could just zigzag and be hard to hit, less predictable, compared to jump, land, jump, land, you know, like it gives them basically an area of opportunity. Okay. So one thing that you're doing, you're scoped in and you're just staring at him, right? Which obviously you're healing, but you're also not in cover. So if they had a Widow, which they might, and they're staring down main, you're an easy target, right? You don't want to become an easy target. You at this point you haven't pressed tab, and so you don't know everything they have. So you could be at risk here. So we know they have a monkey, they have a brig. So they have a Cassidy, brig, monkey, and Ana. Did I name everybody? No, I think we're missing a DPS on their end.
I see you.
So you know they have a monkey, so that he could look for a dive. So you kind of want to save your sleep to kind of like prevent him from getting on top of you for free. So you lose teammates, you're backing up. I won't even worry about shooting too much. If you want to shoot while you're backing up, cool. But just don't stay too long, cool. So now we need to think about, where can you play? Can you go back to high ground? No, your tank's not there. Monkey's basically underneath. He could walk up there as well as he can jump up there basically instantly, and you have no way to push him off. So you need to play somewhere safe. So in my opinion, you could probably just play behind this sign here, because they haven't crossed the height yet, I think. Or you can play it probably around the little tunnel there, right? But you also want to make sure that you have good LOS of your teammates.
Keep fighting.
So right now your tank's basically like, she's a little low, but not really, right? So you can hit her with like one shot, right? But get yourself in a position, like I said, probably near the sign, where you could shoot her, but also shoot into the enemy backline, right? Maybe you can get yourself some ult charge, as long as they don't have anything that can instantly kill you, which I don't think they do because they have Cassidy Soldier. But yeah. Because right here, I don't know if you have any bit of damage yet, and your ult's at 56%. Monkey jumps height. He's purple. Don't even don't even look at him. You can't heal him. He's purple.
Don't fret. I see you.
Amen. Yes.
I have you. Keep fighting.
Look at the soldier. So you're hip firing a lot, especially for like longer ranges. Don't be afraid to scope in, and you can also quick scope in this game. It's a little finicky. It takes some time to get good at. I've hit masters, and sometimes I still even mess it up. I also don't feel bad if you're messing it up, but basically you scope in. As soon as you fully scope in, you shoot and you unscope, right? And that allows you to kind of mix in hit scan shots while also still being mobile. It will slow down your rate of fire in a sense, because you're going to be shooting, unscoping, moving, shooting, you know what I'm saying? But so you got to just think about, what situation am I in? What fire type is going to be needed? Hip fire, straight hits, scoped in hit scan, or quick scoping, right? So walking into that's very dangerous, right? There's nothing you can do here, and there's no reason, especially if your tank's not even walking into the bubble. Why should you, right? Your teammates are dead. Everybody got to regroup, right? So now they've gotten past the first point. So now we should be setting up at the next choke, right? It's not about getting as close to them as possible. It's about holding strong positions to force them to use abilities and abilities and things like that to cross that distance.
Rendezvous at my position.
So right here, your
Healing you.
DPS is being outranged and he's poking way too much. As long as he doesn't die, though, he's chilling. You do have your ult here, right? So one thing about ultimates is you don't want to hold on to them forever, right? The more you use, the more you can get. Obviously, you don't want to just spam them, right? but you don't want to hold on to them forever. So good ults with your team comp, if it stays the same, you could ult Bastion to allow him to play super aggressive. You can ult your tank to either save them or allow them to play more aggressive, or you can ult your Tracer when he's going to go flank for the backline, like when he's basically already in, so that he can be super aggro and just do a lot of damage, right? So we preferably want to use our ultimates in an aggressive manner because you want to use your ultimate to gain an advantage rather than to take back an advantage, if that makes sense. If you're down, using ultimates usually won't save you unless somebody pops off, so that you usually want to use them preemptively unless you need to force out a certain condition. So be careful with your positioning, right, because you are exposed to this long angle. Me personally, I would have probably dropped down to this probably staircase so I can still see my tank, but I can see behind me. But your Ashe should poke this out, so you're not in a terrible spot. Honestly, probably staying on high ground is not bad. But your Bastion should be walking up. So you see right there, your Ashe is looking for a fight here. Right? Nano your Ashe. Allow him to take that fight with an advantage. It gives him 50% DR, I believe, and I think it gives him 50% damage amp. So it makes him a killing machine, right? So just ult your Ashe. Or you can ult your Bastion here. I'm not sure if it saves him, but it keeps him alive and allows him to fight right after his ult. So yeah. So you choose to use your nade there to save him when you could have used your ultimate. Your ult would have done the same exact thing. I'm not sure if you know. You probably do, though. Probably a very intelligent person. But your ult heals and then buffs your teammates. I think the heal is 300, but it could be a percent-based thing off your teammates' health. But let's just say it's 300, right? So it heals your teammates. So it would have did the same thing they did. It would have healed them, as well as it gives them buffs. It gives them damage reduction and damage amp, right? So the nano would have did what your nade did and more, and then you would have still had your nade to try to save yourself a little later on from the monkey.
Heroes never die. For a
Thank you, Annie. Cut the pain.
So right now we've gotten 2 picks, so we don't need to use the ult here. But if I were you, I would put myself in a good position. Use this time that we have the advantage. Your Bastion's in danger. So at low ranks, you're going to really realize that your teammates are going to die a lot because of bad positioning, right? That's not necessarily your fault. I definitely want you to prioritize putting yourself in a good position. Sometimes you have to compromise it a little bit to help your team, but don't form bad habits to help people when you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself. So that's pretty bold. He probably could have killed you if he wanted to, but I think he probably expected a sleep dart, so went straight into cover. But I like that you're trying to use a sleep dart there. You're aware of the ult. Okay, cool. So we are down our main backline DPS. Cool. Nice, keeping him alive. He's purple though, don't heal him. So teammate's purple, tank's full. Shoot at something else. I'd back up here. There's a doorway to your back right, which will still give you LOS on your tank while also giving you opportunity to shoot into the back line. Yeah, so I feel like, I'm not sure if you're necessarily afraid to scope in. I don't want to use that word, but you're hesitant. Sometimes you just got to scope in and get them shots to make sure you hit them, right? Because the difference, like I said, hit scan versus projectile. When you scope in, the second you click, it hits. If you're unscoped, you click, and it takes time, and then it hits, right? Because it has to travel. So keep that in mind. So they've already gotten past the choke. So fighting through here is, especially with your tank switching, that means you don't have ults, things like that, right? It's probably not the best idea. You should just go to the choke, which is towards the right. Let's just think about it this way, right? So you heal 3,000, cool. They heal 2,000, right? But they're also doubling your damage. That's the main thing here. So they're basically acting as a third damage, in a sense. So you want to get your damage up a little bit. So right here, you're on low ground, and you're in a position that you can be seen by multiple angles, right? You don't want to be there. I'd say back a little bit. You have a sniper. Especially if they were playing Winston, right? You want to make yourself really hard to dive. See, if you would have stayed where you were at, you would have been dove. And that's probably why he jumped in. He probably was looking for you. There you go. Take your time with your shots. Don't rush. I know this situation might be like a high stress situation because you just got dove, but I try to hit them shots. So remember, who do we want to save our sleep for, right? Winston. He did get eliminated, so he's not there. But I also want you to remember that, right? So that sleep dart wasn't bad because obviously he's not in the equation right now. But I also want you to remember that's who you're primarily saving it for. When you have sleep dart, it forces Winston to bubble when he dives you. If you don't have it, he can jump on you without bubble. So as you've heard, he doesn't have bubble. So he just wasted it. So I position to your top right here. That's where I position myself. So right now you're wandering. If somebody's here, you die. Imagine there's a DPS here. You're dead. A Tracer, a Sombra, a Genji. You're putting yourself in a position to where you have to win a fight. Be careful where you walk, because if you don't have information on areas, you can't just be walking into them. So like you see how your Ashe has high ground? I would do the same, but like on this like I guess truck. Yeah, on the truck. When Valkyrie pops Valk, she gets self-healing, so you could have focused more on your teammates there. That was a good bubble by the Winston, though. Just run. You guys are going deeper and deeper away from your spawn. Holy moly. Yeah, so basically Winston by himself, with a little bit of help, took you guys out of the game. So now by the time you get back to help your teammates, wow, the fact that you haven't been eliminated yet. But yeah, so now boom, both healers are dead. Should have ran to your spawn. Okay. Being very aggressive. We know they have a Baptiste. We know they have a Zenyatta because you can see the balls. Junkrat. Baptiste, Zenyatta, Junkrat. Is that a ball or is that a Winston? Still Winston. Good heals. So your teammates doesn't feed. Heal your tank. Remember when we talked about earlier, right? Your responsibility. Who's primarily responsible for the Bastion? Mercy. Who's responsible for your tank? You, right? So, gotta be aware of that. Good sleep. You can probably finish that with a nade. Shoot nade, you kill that. Oh, the freaking lamp. You force out lamp though, which is huge. Because they're not gonna have that for 20 seconds. They have ult. When your tank gets back, if I'm you, I'm popping ult on tank and letting him walk forward. Look at your tank, look at your tank, look at your tank. Enable your tank here. He's gonna look for an aggressive fight. Don't be afraid to give him ult. Give it to him. Give your tank ult. Do it. I know you want to. Give the tank the ult. Probably a little late now. You lost both your DPS. Oh, you have one back. Give it to her. Give it to her. Yes! Good ult! That should still do damage to her, right? Yes! Good nade! Ult tire! Oh no. Unfort. That was good. I would have appreciated the ult on the tank a little earlier, but that's good. That's good. Just gotta do it faster. You held on to your ult a good bit. So I think your tank's playing. So look at your teammates, right? Figure out where they're playing. If your tank's pushing cart, you don't need to be pushing it. At 48 seconds. Sometimes you don't even need to be pushing the cart in the moment. Sometimes it's more important to have a good position in the fight than it is to be moving the cart at all times. Oh, your Zarya's in trouble. Up your Zarya, up your Zarya. In for it. That's in there. Nade him, nade him, nade him. Yes. Good nade. Oh no.
Heroes
Nade right away. Oh. Remember, right now you don't want to be contesting the cart. Let your teammates do your job for you. So I don't... Yeah, you didn't need that because I think the cart already reached the choke. You probably could have won that fight without that ult and then used it for the next one. But I'm not going to get upset at you using your ult. That's good. Obviously, it could be more optimal. But the fact that you're using your ult is good. Your tank dies. So what does that mean? Need to pull. Oop. Your repair is getting picks though. This is cool. Oh, nice. Good kill. Just don't die to him now. Amen, amen. Spread out, spread out, spread out. Now they're on Roadhog now, which means that you can get more value out of using your anti-nade on him, because he has a self-heal ability. You don't want to just randomly chuck it though, you want to chuck it when he's either looking to walk forward to deny him from doing that, or use it when your team's walking into him. Okay. You need to get with your teammates. You're by yourself, he's going to run at you, yep. Good sleep, don't shoot him, just leave. Just leave, just leave, just leave, just leave, just no! No, we're going to get you, we're going to get you. Oh. Oh, good kill. Sometimes it's better to just let them sleep and walk away, right? Because by sleeping him, it's like you're kind of getting a kill, right? Because they can't play the video game. So they're sleeping. Sometimes you just let them sleep. Let them take a nap. Nice, you reached the choke. So right now you're surrounded, but you've already kind of made progress with the cart, so even if you die here, you still get obviously more opportunity. So right now I wouldn't use the ult because you have the spawn advantage already. Don't let your Zarya die though. Good shots, good LOS. Start walking up because your teammates are going to start going around that corner soon. Good sleep, let him sleep, yep. Careful, you're in the open. I give your ult to somebody. There you go. Throw a nade at that. Throw a nade at it. He's gonna run. Ooh, good shots. Be careful there. We're walking forward there. Get to cover. Get to cover. Good sleep. Good sleep. Don't wake him up. Don't wake him up. He has ult. Yes. Good kill. He should have died. Oh, huge nade. Huge nade. Heal your tank now. Nice. That's a really good sleep on the soldier, and good IQ not to wake him up, because that could have been really bad. I was worried you were gonna wake up the visoring soldier and he was gonna kill your team. All right, cool. So it did take y'all a little bit longer to get through that because they pressed you on the choke, and you guys weren't poking enough. You guys were engaging too hard. But if we look at the stats real quick, You're healing 12k with 4k damage, so you've caught up in the damage department as you're still healing more, right? So at this point of the game, you are outperforming their Ana, which is good. You're outperforming your competition. But as you can see, the downfall of Mercy, 0 damage compared to the opposing 5,000 damage. Yikes.
I'm here. There is always
I see you're attacking again. Okay, cool.
2, 1.
Let's see if your team plays a little bit smarter now because they've already been through this like 2 minutes ago. Or don't be afraid to aim in.
I have you. Keep fighting. Come over here.
So now that you have a Pharah, right, your Bastion's more your responsibility now because your Mercy should be pocketing your Pharah.
I'll keep you up. Hello. 30 seconds remaining.
So whoever the Mercy's not pocketing, you basically need to give a little bit more attention to. So at this point here, your tank should be walking up. He could use a little jump to get the high ground, but since he's going to sit on cart, I like that you're moving up here. I'd get to cover, though. You got cover to your left. Good sleep.
I've got you. Watch here.
Are you going to toss a nade? I like that. Oh, a little too low. So right now you could be shooting at the enemy. So since like when your teammates don't need heals, you should be shooting at them, right? Getting them low.
You're covered.
Not a big fan of that nade usage. Wasn't necessary. Could have used it on an enemy.
Establishing aerial position.
He's winning the fight though. Make sure you're always in spots where you can see your tank so that they can not instantly blow up. Careful. Oh, this is so dangerous. Yeah, I would say at a mid, just play one of the doorways for now.
Heroes never die.
You have your ult, don't be afraid to use it. You're a full T. You lose one fight, you're done.
I'm on top of the world. Come here. Keep an eye out.
I say when the other tank gets back, you need to be ready to ult your Zarya. If not, no, you're good. Zarya's going in right now. Don't let him die. If you need to ult him, you ult him. Somebody's running behind you. Might have visor. There it is. Don't die with your ult here. You should be good, I think. Good sleep. Nice. Nice. Saved your teammate. That's good.
Targeting hostile.
How you? I would have gone. I would have went in the house. Just get away from him. No, don't keep fighting him. Let him be back there. He's not doing anything. Oh, he's getting really chaotic. Your tank, your tank, your tank, your tank. Right there, you're 2 tunnel visioned on the McCree. Oh, that's for it. So you got a little 2 tunnel vision on the McCree and trying to save your backline that you kind of ignored your tank there when your tank needed help. That was good though. That was a decent round. I think the same thing as normal, just positioning could be a little bit better. I think one thing that I would really like to see in the future is your ability to realize when you do and do not have to take fights. There's a lot of times where, like, for example, that McCree's in the back, like, so what? Like, if he's already winning that fight, if he's out poking you, like, let him. Just, like, get away, But if you're confident you can win that fight, then win it. But if you winning that fight means that your teammates die, is it worth it? If you lose in that fight makes your teammates lose, is it worth it, right? You need to quickly weigh out your options. Which, as the better you get, you'll be able to do that a lot quicker. You'll be able to figure out, like, okay, is this a good time? Is this a good opportunity? Is this a good situation to be in? Yes, no, boom, react. All right. Oh no, what happened? So I like this. Boom, you're on high ground. You got some teammates controlling the right side, or maybe a little too many for my for my liking. Your take's starting high. This is cool. Yawn, yawn, yawn. But then you drop. What are we doing? No. No. Good sleep. But you lose a teammate. But now they have the advantage. You lose them again. So now you guys are in full back pedal. There's being bold. Yep. Another loss. You got to trade, but you're still behind. Oh no, he's gonna die. Like, you see how like it's hard for your team to recover because you guys are like fighting that when you're down a player. Wait for Zarya for a second, gets punished. Like right there, your priority should have been to keep him alive. So yeah, so like you see how like you lose Bastion once and then they basically just snowball it. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Sleepy Patchy. Nade him, nade him, nade him. Nice. Good sleep. So they have a minute, so winning the fight doesn't necessarily mean you win the game. You already had the advantage. I'm not sure if I like this ult here. I would have waited a little bit longer when they started pushing in, but you guys are getting some value with it. They got too happy, walked forward. So unlike the original spawn, they've gotten the first choke, so their spawn's close again, right? So you don't want to stay up here too long. They're going to respond quicker than you guys will. He's very bold. Oh, by bold, I mean spooky. And you're going to die now. You're too far up for too long. But there's a chance you guys can win this, though. You should be able to get back before they get there. Sprint, sprint, get there, go, go, go. Oof. You can. Oh, try to throw a nade in there. You can keep your soldier up. Yes. Your tank back yet? No, I probably lose this. Oh, you know, you still have time. Does your tank get there in time? Yes. Don't die. Don't die. Your life is very valuable. Don't die. Your life is very valuable. Oh. Good sleep. Let him sleep. Throw a nade. Throw a nade. Throw a nade. Yes. Good nade. Oh, no. Not enough. Yeah. GG. Right. So obviously you can always play better, right? I don't want to blame the game on you, but you can always play better. Good heals. You definitely had the most healing in the game, which is nice. Your damage didn't really go up too much from the other rounds comparatively to where, as you can see, their damage has spiked and their healing has gone up a bit too. I hate Mercy for this reason, but we're not talking about her. Okay, so, but as you can see, you guys play past the choke and you lose a player, and then if you don't reset, that you just lose it. So like you lose one. It was let's just say it was this guy. You lose one, you don't reset, so he's on his way back. So like let's say you guys are right here, enemies here, you guys are fighting, you lose one, now he's walking back, but by the time he's about to get back, you lose another one. So now he's back, but now you gotta wait for this guy to get back. By the time he's almost back, you lose another one. You know, and it's just a constant effect, right? So when you lose one, you just need to give space, because realistically, in a perfect world, you're not winning a 4v5. They have more health, they have more damage, they have more utility. That's just the point of the game, right? It's a 5v5. There's a reason why it's not 4v5, 3v5, 2v5, right? It's a 5v5. So when you lose one, you got to respect that unless you have ults that can turn the tides and you need to use them, you need to hold that space, you need to respect that, hey, they have the advantage. If we keep fighting here, they will win, right? So yeah, that stagger is what lost y'all that game. And we'll pull up a blackboard so we can write a little bit. So if I had to give you, let's say 3 things for you to work on that I think would definitely improve you for next time, is number 1 is going to be positioning, right? Positioning, you need to know where you need to be, where you're safe. The LOS is that position is going to give you, right? Positioning is probably going to be the number 1 thing I want you to focus on. And I know it could be a little hard to try to figure out on your own. So the methods I want you to do for that is I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to put lines, right? So watch better players, right? Whether you want to watch my gameplays, haha, or you want to watch someone that's better than me, like ML7, or like who else is pretty good support? I'm not really big into this scene, but ML7's a good support. I think Gale, I don't know if he still plays support. Gale at a daily or something like that. You can watch that they have good positioning as well as good mechanics. You can just play the game more, experiment with different spots. Experiment with different locations, as well as watch replays. Watch your replays, right? And then compare your position to the enemy's position, especially if they're playing the same character, right? You can learn from them. Hey, they did better than me. I wonder why. Is it just because their team was better, or because maybe they were having more impact, right? And you can watch replays and things like that, as well as you can, just watch things in general, right? Number 2, other than positioning, mechanics. You can always improve on mechanics, right? I don't think your aim's bad. Like, obviously, it can always be better, right? But I feel like sometimes you're using the wrong types of shots in different scenarios, right? So just number 1, I guess we'll use a different color so it's not too confusing when it comes to the lines. So number 1, knowing when to scope, quick scope, and hip fire. Right? Knowing when these are beneficial and what situation you should use them in, right? Because there's a lot of times where like you're missing shots because you're just hip firing. I know it feels faster, but you do need to scope in sometimes, right? Ability usage was pretty good. I honestly like your ability usage, but I would like you to ult more. Ult more / faster. And I know it's going to feel like, oh, well, I don't want to waste it, right? But at your level of play, for one, who cares, right? We're trying to get better. But to figure out the best situations to use your ult, as well as build that reflex, like, boom, to be able to use your ult instantly when you know it's the right decision, you need to use it more. So you can learn when it's a bad ult, when it was too early, when it was too late, if it's a good ult, right? And different things like ult combinations. Which ult combinations are worth more than other ones? Should I ult this Lucio? Or should I ult this soldier who has visor? Or should I ult this Genji with blade? Or should I ult this Pharah that has barrage, right? Like, obviously those are both decent options, right? But you need to figure out in what situations will one be better than the other, things like that. And then, is there anything else with mechanics? I think that's about it. I think so. Obviously, you can always practice your aim as well, but whatever. We're right there, right? Just practice aim. And that can be done from just playing more, going into aim training scenarios in the game, and or just, if you do aim trainers, cool, but just practice aim. It's never a bad thing. Better aim can help making decisions easier, as well as it can help you, because sometimes you make the right choice, you make the aggressive play, but you miss shots, right? Happens to me all the time, right? So having a little bit of a better aim can make your playmaking ability better. So let's just focus on positioning and mechanics, right? Definitely positioning. I think you improve your positioning, that'll dramatically increase how your like your I guess your skill, right? Because it'll allow you to be, by being in better positions, you can make better plays. You can live longer, and the longer you exist, right, to a certain extent, right? Because you don't want to be so safe that you're lasting forever, but your team's paying for it. But the longer you can exist, the more value you can output, right? So just keep that in mind. Other than that, that's basically it. Hopefully, I was able to teach you a thing or two with this gameplay. So yeah, we shall see if you would like to proceed or what, right? But yeah, peace out, take care, and if anybody else learned from this, that is amazing. Oh, I don't like this outro. This outro sucks. Let's try this again. Alrighty, and without further ado, that's basically going to be it for this video. I just want you to focus on these two things, like I said. And for anybody else that is watching, if you were interested in some coaching, you could definitely hit me up and we can talk about how we can get that squared away. With that being said, if you enjoy this content, definitely leave a like and subscribe so you never miss out on when I post things of this nature, as well as comment down below if you have any further tips for this player, as well as if you have anything you want to ask me, right? Take care, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.